So this is the power of the mind. I've got a quick little model here that shows you just how quickly, if we don't practice this awareness or practice the pause, be the observer of our thoughts, we can so easily move from a place of feeling frustrated and suddenly we're dropped down into, worry, blame, anger, hatred, insecurity, guilt, worthlessness, fear, depression, anger, victim mentality. We can sometimes let emotions overrule us. And if we're just this, default machine where thought happens, emotion attaches, and we just react, then we're just like this reaction machine. And if you react to life, life tends to react to you, right? If you respond to life more consciously, life tends to respond to you. Now, you're not going to be able to do this in every moment of every day. You're still a human being. But imagine if we could get you to a place where you say, yeah, most of the time I respond the way that I want. Most of the time, I consciously am able to observe my thoughts and I'm able to then attach the appropriate meaning and emotion to those thoughts. Would that not change the quality of your life? Of course. So by catching these thoughts, we can sometimes even untruth the thoughts in the moment where the thought actually originates. So a thought that could arise that could be, based upon past events could be, I'm not good enough. And then suddenly you go, oh, hang on a second. You catch that thought, and instead of just attaching an emotion to it unconsciously, you go, hang on a second, I'm not good enough. Where's the evidence that that's not true? Maybe if I wanted to think of 3 things right now to give evidence for the fact that I am good enough, what could those 3 things be? And you know what? Okay, there's 3 examples of how I am good enough. So knowing that maybe I actually am good enough, what sort of way could I feel if I wanted to about the fact that I am good enough? How could that make me feel? And obviously that by choosing that consciously, it's not about positive thinking, and you still need to see things as they are, but we need to sometimes not ask ourselves what is wrong, but rather ask ourselves what is right. Maybe not look for what is wrong, but rather look for what is right. Not look for what we need to be angry at or stressed about. Look at what we can be grateful for, and look at what we can be, what we can be looking at as abundant in our life. So it's all about the meaning that we give to everything, because the meaning itself changes the way we think, changes the way we feel. It's about catching them so we can go more into the upward spiral stuff opposed to the downward spiral stuff. So it all starts with those thoughts. So what are emotions? And we're going to go into this a lot deeper as we start to move through different modules, but emotions are ultimately feedback. And when serving in their appropriate way, they're just there to keep you safe. And there are no real negative emotions as such, but we are going to use the term negative emotions in NLP. It's important just to distinguish so that we know when we're dealing with clients, we also need to use that terminology so they can understand. But essentially, all emotions, negative emotions included, when they're serving in their appropriate purpose, they're all perfect. And they're just all teaching us. So it's all about feedback. And as long as we understand that relationship, we just need to be matching the appropriate emotion to the appropriate situation to allow ourselves to have the appropriate experience and the appropriate lesson and learning from it. Not be living our past is a saying we talk about in NLP. Are you living your past now? Because a lot of the time people are, triggered by certain events, which make them feel a certain way, which then lets them relive their past in the moment right now, and means they perpetuate it into the future. So what we're trying to get to a point of is not letting the emotions run the show, but rather allow ourselves to consciously catch our thoughts, catch our emotions, and really decide whether the emotion is appropriately attached to the situation which is playing out. Very important. So ultimately, the other thing that emotions are energy. And as you work with your clients, you'll see these physiological shifts take place that are happening at an energetic level. And people will tell you about their experiences energetically. And this is just a little slide we've got up here that shows you the relationships between, between the movement of energy, whether it be blood flow or whatever it might be energetically. It could be represented in electric or magnetic energy, by heat, and so on and so forth, by sound. So we need to realize that we're made of this energy, everything in the universe is made of this energy. It's all vibrational, but this energy is shifting and moving based upon the emotions in which we're experiencing. And you have too many negative emotions. They take a lot of energy too, because they're also linked into a lot of our glands and organs within the body as well. We also look at, if we're in those peak states of motivation, generally we're seated in spaces of like love and pride and happiness, for instance. So we have this energy available to us. So you can see by being seated in more of these, I'm going to say, uplifting emotional states, we can actually create more in our reality. So there is definitely a relationship between vibration, or the energy that you're holding at any given time, to your ability to create in your world. So it's a really important thing to look at, and just realize that emotions are a big part of how we experience energy in the world.